Madrak Ironhide World Ender. For a time, concerns over the fate of his dislocated people occupied all Madrak's attention, and their eventual disposition continues to burden him. Soon enough, however, this preoccupation was eclipsed by difficulties of a more ominous nature. As Madrak fought with Rathrok, something deep within the weapon awoke. Mastering his own fate proved to be more difficult than Ironhide could have ever imagined. When he was wielding Rathrok and its powers began to awaken, foul weather seemed to follow Madrak, rainstorms becoming torrents and winds becoming gales. The great chief suffered visions he knew were not real. Walking past summer meadows, he saw instead ancient battlefields, strewn with corpses and tattered banners of forgotten nations and tribes. Everywhere the marks of war appeared to him, and in response his blood surged with a peculiar longing for strife. Madrak's growing power brought him victory after victory in combat, yet he found no peace or calm. While accursed, he was able to take delight neither in the arms of his mate, nor of the sight of young Trollkin. Everywhere he saw the signs of future and past conflict, and felt the tug of some ancient bloodthirsty call. The warriors gathered around him were different than they were before he shouldered this burden, darker of mind, fiercer of temperament, and more eager to kill and throw away their lives for his cause. Friends who once trusted him with their lives began to look at him with fear and uncertainty. Madrak tried to rid himself of Rathrok many times, but eventually resigned himself to the fact that he could not simply put it aside. Countless times he had left it locked away, only for it to appear in his hand when battle came. He asked the best smiths of his people to destroy it, but they could not even mar the leather binding. It refused to release him. Madrak began to believe the visions and the impulses he felt were a sign of Horfor Grimmer, reaching through the axe from beyond the grave and influence his decisions. During this period, Ironhide's followers still shouted his name and praised his strength and wisdom, but others spread warnings. Many Creels are still afraid of the storms that linger when he passes. For some, it's Madrak, not his axe, they now call the World Ender. So the cursed axe is starting to curse Madrak, as to be expected, because anytime you pick up a device called the World Ender that has that kind of malicious intent, I imagine it does put some kind of curses on the wielder. I'm curious how close this thing is related to the Doom Reaver swords that the Khadorns use, but only time will tell, and maybe this guy's looking for a better owner, I suppose, but we shall see in the future. Or if you read or listened through our classes on the Circle Oberos, you saw where this particular axe found his kin. So, but yeah, Madrak is feeling the weight of this cursed object, and we'll see what the future brings. But before we do that, let's go over his Mark 3 to Mark 4 changes and see if anything has changed. And as usual, not much has changed into the Mark IV of this character. So we're going to start with the stats as always. And this guy's gotten, well, he didn't really get a little bit better, but compared to his earlier renditions, he is a little bit better. So his mat went up to a mat 8, making him even more of a melee caster. He's still a speed 6. He still has a rat of 6, defense 14, armor 17, his dismal focus of 5, and then his control of 12 inches. He still has tough because he is still a Trollkin. That will probably not change in the future. One of the things they removed from him in his abilities is Berserk, so he no longer has to make Berserk strikes, which I imagine for a Warlock is good. He still has Field Marshal Relentless Charge, so he gives everybody in his battle group Relentless Charge, which for everybody that doesn't know, Relentless Charge is part of a charging. This model gains Pathfinder. And then he still has Grim Salvation, so if he's directly hit by a basic attack made by an enemy, choose a friendly non-corporeal warrior model within 3 of this model to be hit instead. And then they're hit and stuff for all the stuff. And then his weapon has not changed at all, still a magic weapon, still a power of 15. Still has a grievous wounds for, from his Mark 3 to Mark 4. And then still has Rathrok's Awakening, which means anytime you kill a living enemy with this weapon, you gain a Fury point. So it will help. It will help keeping this guy satiated if he's killing lots of people. But play that as you will. And at a POW 15, you can clear a lot of creatures very quickly. His Desperate Hour is still the same for his feat. Everybody, all friendly non-warlock faction models gain overtake in Berserk, and that's everybody. So all Trollkin, all War Beast, and the like. And getting overtake after you kill somebody, you move up to 1 inch, and Berserk means you just keep on swinging. So every time you kill somebody, you gotta hit somebody else. So yeah, that is a great and very dangerous ability to have at twofer. But yeah, you can really clear out the guys if you keep them far apart from each other, or else they will start hitting each other. So that might be a problem. His spells are basically the same. Blood Fury has been replaced with, of course, Battle Lust, which is the same thing. A friendly faction warrior model / unit gains an additional die on melee damage rolls, but suffers -2 defense. Same thing as Blood Fury. He still has Eruption, which is an attack that causes fire damage and places a cloud effect on the model hit. It's a power 14. However, the end part of this changed, so the cloud effect just puts on models that move into it or in their activation in it. It just causes the fire continuous effect. So every maintenance phase you don't get it off, you suffer a power 12 damage roll on 2 dice instead of the original power 14 damage rolls like the original. So unfortunately, that's been nerfed a little bit. And then he still has Warpath. So every time a friendly faction model in the spellcaster's control range destroys 1 or more enemy models with a melee or range attack, immediately after the attack is resolved, a cohort in his battle group can advance up to 3 inches, and each cohort can only move once per turn. So if they kill 6 guys and they have 6 cohorts, well, they can get them moving up the field pretty sweetly. But yes, so outside of those minor word changes and the ability changes, really he's the same guy he was before, minus him being Berserk himself. So yeah, he makes him even more dangerous and makes his guys even more dangerous. And what's nice is his simplicity as a warcaster, because his spell list isn't super complicated, and his feat's not crazy complicated either, although I do suggest you keep your guys pretty spread out when you pop this feat. But yeah, that's what we got. So a pretty dangerous dude, getting better every time. And yeah, you want to get this guy into melee because he loves melee. So, but